Hey there guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another best class setup in Warzone video. Today we are doing something a little bit different. Normally in Warzone you steer clear of LMGs, or at least I do. I think it's just one of those weapon types that people hear LMGs and they're like big, slow, hard to aim down sight, unaggressive weapons that play very slowly. But with this FiNN LMG class setup that we are combining with the Pellington sniper rifle today, this thing absolutely shreds people at close range. This is a class setup for those of you who do like to be aggressive, but also have a decent long-range option to be able to pick people off at slightly further distances than the FiNN can manage. Just before we do get into our best FiNN LMG class setup here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. We are looking for 5,000 subscribers very soon, and of course 10,000 by the end of the year. So if you do want to help me achieve those goals, it would be absolutely massive for me. So let's just jump straight into our best FiNN LMG class setup here. So, as usual, the video's timestamps will be on the loading bar and, of course, in the description. So, if you are looking for something specific, make sure you do skip to that section. But as usual, we do start off with our secondary here, which, as we have seen, we are taking an overkill class setup, and we mentioned that we're taking the Pellington as well. Our attachments are going to be that wrap suppressor. This does give us the most amount of muzzle flash concealment, as well as a bit of recoil control, as well as helping control that idle sway. It is to be noted that we aren't taking attachments that would reduce our bullet velocity, so this is a bit of a scuffed attachment. It says that it decreases our bullet velocity, but it actually does not. The barrel slot, we're going for the combat recon option here. This does give us bullet velocity, which is just a straight increase. This gives us one of the best bullet velocities with this particular sniper. In the underbarrel slot, we are taking that bipod, of course, for that vertical and horizontal recoil control. This means we can hit a follow-up shot with this particular option if we do feel inclined. We don't hit that headshot, we need to hit a follow-up shot. It just makes it really, really easy. In the ammunition slot, we're going for that 7-round mag, of course, to give us more bullets to fire, which is really nice. And lastly, the axial arms 3x optic sniping with this thing is very, very powerful, but you do have, with the custom reticles, if you do pick any of the ones that are straight unlocks, you get that weird parallax from the scope. You see like the black outline way further into the scope and it just looks really weird. So if you do have like the blue dot unlocked, which I actually don't, I never bought the blue dot, so we're going to have to stick with something a little bit strange like the Micron or like a Donut or something like that. These don't actually have that weird scope parallax effect, and if you do have the blue dot, make sure you use that on this particular option. In the perk slot, we are going for double time because, as I said, this is a very aggressive class setup that we do want to be sprinting around everywhere with. Perk 2, of course, we want overkill, mostly because we can have these two powerful weapons, and then if we do get a second loadout drop, we can just take a class ghost on it, and then we can just switch out our weapons. And then perk 3, because we do want to switch our weapons around, amped is a very powerful perk in this game. In the lethal slot, because I said we are being aggressive, Semtex is the #1 aggressive option in Warzone. You can just chuck it at someone, push them, and deal a little bit of damage, and they should die. And then that tactical, you can take the heartbeat sensor, but as well as a stun or a flash if you are being really, really aggressive here. Now, for the FiNN LMG, this is actually the close range option of this class setup, which seems a little bit weird for an LMG, but just hear me out. This thing has such a high fire and an excellent bullet velocity, you have to be aggressive with it. So we start off with that monolithic suppressor, which does increase our damage range and, of course, our sound suppression, while also giving us a touch more bullet velocity. Then move to that barrel, which we are taking the XRK long shot adverse barrel, which does give us damage range, bullet velocity, which is, again, a key statistic in Warzone, as well as a massive increase to our fire rate, at only the cost of a little bit of recoil control, which is really easy to manage here. In the laser slot, we're going for that tack laser to improve that aim down sight speed and help keep our sight on target with that aiming stability. Optic, we are taking the VLK 3x optic to help with our recoil control just a little bit. And lastly, in the underbarrel, we are taking that commando foregrip for that recoil stabilization. In the customized optic reticle slot, you can take something that does prefer you. Usually the T-pose is a good option for the VLK, but again, I haven't got that unlocked yet, so you can take whatever you do prefer. So as you usually do with these class setups, we are just going to jump into some gameplay here. It might be Plunder, it might just be a regular game, depending on what we can get going. I've actually been having a lot of fun in Plunder recently. It's really, really cool. Oh boy. This is a pretty hot drop. Of course, there's a scavenger contract here, and that is why there are lots of people here. So we got to get a gun soon as possible. #1 objective here. Is that a gun? Is that technically a gun? Come here. That is a gun. Are we actually serious right now? Like, how are we getting stuck on that? Alright, normally we'll just show some kills here. Like, that's usually how these work. We'll just get some kills going and then we'll get the loadout drop going and so on. There is a boy up there. Dude. sit down, fella. You should have not done that, mate. You should have known better, bro. You should have known better. Alright, let's jump. Let's dip out of here. We're actually almost at our loadout drop, so there might be a little bit more cash that we can find around here, and then we'll just grab that, and we will skip to getting more kills. Alrighty, so we are good with our loadout drop here, and we should be able to just cut until we start getting into some gunfights, get some kills with this thing, because this thing absolutely shreds people. Like, up close, I was testing this out earlier today, up close, this thing is an absolute menace. Like, it's a pretty competitive time to kill. I actually haven't measured or anything like that, so I don't know the exact numbers, but this thing dumpsters people. Yeah, there he is. He's going to want his loadout drop back. Oi. Little shit. Not much recoil with this thing either. Like, you would consider that barrel to actually have a fair amount of recoil given the fire rate that it does actually have, but with the attachments that we've actually chosen here, the recoil is really, really easy to control. Like, there is a little bit of bounce, as you saw there. It's kind of hard to hit shots over, like, little brick walls and stuff like that, but it's really not too difficult. You might have already seen this with the Pellington, but you can see with this reticle, we don't get the weird, like, parallax scope effect, which basically just refers to, like, the outline of the scope actually appears, like, inside it, which is kind of weird to say, but yeah, basically it just looks really bad, like with some of the other reticles, like the ones that you actually unlock, but like the ones in the battle pass and the blue dot one, they look really nice, as you can see here with this, whatever this one's called, the micron one. It just looks really nice and doesn't actually have that weird scope effect, so keep that in mind if you are using the Pellington or any of the other snipers from Cold War. Also, you might have seen this already, but how neat is the storm? Like, how cool is the storm going on over there, man? Like, just hopefully zoom in on that on the actual video, but like that storm looks really nifty, and hopefully when the season 2 drops we learn more about what's going on with the storm, because there's a lot of things to cover in season 2 hopefully. Okay, so as we mentioned previously, this class setup doesn't actually run Ghost, so what we want to do is we want to come up to the loadout drop, the one that's ours actually, grab this, and then grab one. Oh geez, no, get up, idiot. Ugh. No, that's bad. That's very disrespectful, man. That is very upsetting. Look at that. Look at the nice little cloud over there. The boat's coming in. That's very exciting. Hopefully that means we are getting some more stuff in season 2, that looks very, very cool as well. But you know, we just jump into some plunder here. It wasn't really happening for us, of course, in Warzone regular, so we just jump in, we make this as easy as possible for ourselves to show off what this gun can do, go in there and get some kills, and then that can translate straight into Warzone if you do want to jump into like solos, trios, duos, whatever you want to do. This translates pretty well to that game. So you see, you look at the fire rate, you look how easy that is to control. Normally the FiNN LMG would be kind of difficult to control, normally it isn't. Or at least in Modern Warfare previously, the classes that I've made haven't been that easy, but it is a touch different in Warzone, as the recoil we do get from, or the recoil control that we get from the actual sight actually really does help this, as well as it not being as important to have decent aim down sight speed in Warzone because the weapons do... Seriously? What do you think he was doing? What do you think he was gonna what do you think was gonna happen? I mean, I missed my sniper shot, but that's fair enough. It was fairly close range. It would have been a pretty nasty flick to hit that. But like, what did he think was gonna happen? But yeah, with this, you guys have to let me know if you're cool with just me jumping into plunder for these videos. Like, to show off the best Warzone class setups, it is as easy as possible for me to just jump straight into plunder and then get some kills and then show off what these weapons can do, and you guys can translate them into Warzone for yourself. I mean, it would take much, much longer and a lot more recording for me to jump into like solos, duos, etc. and try and get as many kills as I can get and like edit it up nicely, show different games and stuff like that. Because as you may know, I'm not particularly good at Warzone. The guy just there. So as I said, making it as easy as possible for me to make these videos is always like up there as a factor for me when I'm making these. Like, I want to make myself have the easiest time possible. Where at? And this just lets us... And this just lets us have some fun.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Oh, I got him. Help me, dude. But yeah, that's really the only reason I jump in and play Plunder on these videos, is that I just want to make it as easy as possible for me to make them. Because yeah, if I just jump into Warzone, then I end up with a lot of footage that is pretty much just me sprinting around, like looking for people to kill. Which I know isn't super interesting, so at least we get some kills in here. We get to jump around, have an excellent time, like... Jesus. There's a bit going on in Plunder, which makes it a lot more fun, for me at least. Also, this weapon has a nice little hip fire, so if you are nice and close to people, you can usually get away with just hip firing people and they usually will die. But at close distances, man, you will absolutely shred people with this thing. Just such a high fire rate, man. Alright, I feel like we have got enough evidence to say that the FiNN LMG is definitely a fun weapon in this game. Like, it definitely shreds people, so we'll have our final thoughts on this in just a second here. So as I said, guys, that gameplay wasn't, like, super reminiscent of what we can actually achieve with this thing. Like, the idea is to be super aggressive with this FiNN LMG, as we described in the start of the video. If you push people, you get that massively high fire rate with this particular weapon, and you absolutely shred through people. Bullet velocity is also really, really nice with this weapon, as it is an LMG, and we've taken a lot of bullet velocity increasing attachments, so it's a super powerful weapon in this game. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on, just in case you don't want to miss out on any of the upcoming stuff. There's loads of Season 2 content coming up on the channel very soon, so don't miss out on any of that. We are looking for 5,000 subscribers very soon as well, and 10,000 by the end of the year, so if you could help me out, that would be absolutely insane. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!